found the GroomPod. Welcome to our virtual salon. My name is Susy, and I'm your host. I'm a mobile groomer from Seattle, Washington, and anybody who knows me will tell you I love to talk, especially about my job. And one of my favorite people to talk to is my friend and mentor and the co-star of this show, the curator of ingredients, Miss Barbara Bird.
Hey, Susy. So glad to be with you again today.
Oh, and I am so glad to be with your beautiful self as well. And I'm glad that we've got lots of people joining in to overhear our lovely conversations on episode 431 of the GroomPod. 431 of the GroomPod. Recorded on December 8th, 2024 in Snohomish, Washington and Greenville, South Carolina. By the way, December 8th, does that ring a bell at all for you? Right around this neighborhood, like first part of December. Think about that. This podcast is brought to you by our kind sponsors, Best Shot, Show Season, Precision Sharp, Grumor, and Stasco. And if you guys would like to support us, the podcast, you can do so at our website, thegroompod.com, and hit the donation button to send it straight to Barbara, or join us on Patreon and support the show. This week on the GroomPod, we're talking Shavedowns, and we're going to ponder the question about coconut oil. Is it an allergen? What's new this week is brought to you by Grumor. If you haven't found Grumor, you're missing out. Grumor is an all-in-one software solution for your grooming business. Whether you are a solo mobile groomer or manage several shops, Grumor has everything you need. 24-hour online booking and forms, routing, credit card processing, reminders, Google Calendar and QuickBooks integration, and so much more. And the best customer service anywhere. Shop, mobile, or house call, Grumor has you covered. And they're giving us a free month. Just enter GroomPod22 in the coupon code. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. We're headed into our 10th year, Barbara. Is this freaking amazing or what? I'm so excited to tell you because I forget my own anniversary. The only anniversary I actually remember is when I quit cocaine. That, for some reason, I can remember. My own personal anniversary for my wedding, I don't ever remember that. My birthday, often I sail right past that. But the podcast anniversary, I don't want to let go by without honoring us, because we're badass, Barbara. We have been doing this for 10 years. We're the OGs. Anyway, I bow to you, my podcast podner.
Oh, my partner. I'm so happy to have made it this long. It's just incredible. It's unbelievable. 10 years. Well, how time flies, right?
And we look exactly the same, as you guys will tell if you ever watch our live stuff. Exactly the same. No different.
No. I got this flabby stuff under my chin.
I'm probably wearing the same shirt I was wearing 10 years ago, but
Probably, yeah.
Oh, so what's new with you? Anything exciting?
No, I'm having a rather boring existence right now, to tell you the truth. I got lazy and just kind of kicked back for a week. I don't know if you've ever done that. I just decompressed and I watched a whole lot of, now I can't think of the name of the TV show. It was the TV show with what's his name in it? How's that for my memory at 84?
I love it. I love it. So you watched a bunch of TV?
Long series in the White House with Kevin Stacey or whatever.
Oh, yeah. West Wing.
House of Cards.
House of Cards. I was close.
House of Cards. Watching that every evening and getting so tied up in it. I really like to watch the TV afterwards where I can kind of just like stream a whole bunch of episodes at once and just go from one to another and stay up late and watch that.
I'm so opposite. I am the queen of delayed gratification. I allow myself one episode and then I cannot have another one till the next day.
Oh, I can't do that to myself. When you get to be my age, you just want to be very self-serving. Like whatever I want, I should get because I'm old now. you know.
Besides, you don't want to do too much delayed gratification. You might not get to the gratification.
You might not, yeah, no, right. While you're awake and up and functioning, do it. Watch it. What do you think about the new fragrance from the Cinnamon line from Best Shot, the Sweet Magnolia?
Well, I like the name Sweet Magnolia. I think that's pretty cool.
I love that name. I would buy it just from the name.
But in my head, I think I was confusing Magnolia and Lily of the Valley. I really don't like Lily of the Valley. Apparently, I don't mind Magnolia. Actually, the version of Magnolia is fairly mild, and I found it to be pretty pleasant. I did not get repelled by it. I'm kind of repelled by the current lavender formulation of the sentiment, but I really liked the Sweet Magnolia, and I'm sorry that I ran out of the shampoo because I used it all up.
Well, I didn't get to really use the shampoo and conditioner. I just used the fragrance because I don't have any bathing capacity here. I did give the 3 items to Melody, and we'll get a feedback from her maybe for next week. But I tried the fragrance out on my dogs and on myself, and I was underwhelmed. I was expecting more. I was expecting more of a clingy smell, I think you might say, because Sweet Magnolia to me rings of Southern and it's juicy and sticky and like that. But that fragrance is a little bit more breezy and light, and it didn't seem to last very long. So I don't know. I'd like to try the lavender again because I really liked the lavender when I was working with it in the salon. I thought their lavender was much more tolerable because it wasn't like your grandmother's lavender. This is what drives companies crazy, is that everybody has their own profile of what smells good to them, and you can't exactly describe it, you can't exactly tell it, but you know that when companies pick a fragrance, they've probably done focus groups and stuff like that and passed the fragrance around. And I want to be on that side of things.
I was just thinking that. You just picked that right out of the air. I was like, oh, we should do that. That would be fun.
I'd like to be a sniffer, you know.
Well, I also noticed, which could be my perception or maybe because on the label it says it's a little bit different formula. So I perceived it as cleaning a little better than some of the other sentiment products, and like it had a little more silicone in it, the conditioner maybe. But once again, it's all perception, like you're saying. But I liked it. I'll keep using it. I'll buy it again.
So do you use the cinnamon in the recirculating system, or did you use it straight out of the bottle?
In the recirculator.
Yeah, I think that you'd probably get a different experience if you used it straight out of the bottle.
Yes, especially with the clinginess of the scent, because
Yeah.
with a recirculator, it does such a good job of putting on and then taking off anything that's not supposed to be there.
The thing about the recirculator is one of the few kind of weak points is that it greatly dilutes the product so much that it dilutes the fragrance. And even though, so that if there's not a special ingredient in there that makes the fragrance stick, the recirculating it over and over doesn't really do it so much. I think that those cinnamon products really smell the best when they're used neat out of the bottle. Then you can rinse it through with it, it just takes a minute more.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll try that. Well, I'll try that when next I purchase some more because I ran out. I used it all.
Oh.
I do have the spray. So I'm using the spray. I find it delightful and light and not offensive. Like I know some people don't like that sweet pea smell. I don't mind the sweet pea smell. I'm not into florals. I'm into fruit.
I like the sweet pea smell. I like the sweet pea smell of Beshop better than the minty fragrance.
Me too, by far. I love the sweet pea over the minty.
Yeah.
And the sweet pea doesn't bother me. It just isn't, I'm like not going, oh yeah, let's get out that sweet pea. It's okay. It's fine. Doesn't bother me. I'm good with it. So Barbara, have you ever noticed how sometimes when you groom people's pets through the generations, like you do an entire life on one dog and then start another one on another dog, and then they get a third dog. I'm on the third dogs with some of these people because I came in late on the first dog. Sometimes the problems that you saw in the first dog then show up in the second dog and now in the third dog. And I have 3 different examples of this.
You mean behaviorally?
Yes, sometimes it's behavior, sometimes it's medical. For instance, I have the 2 Bichons and 1 Schnauzer house. They have always had at least 1 Bichon and 1 Schnauzer, sometimes 2. Now they have 2 Bichons and 1 Schnauzer. Every single Schnauzer, and I understand the legs, I understand learning, genetics, environment, and self is all involved in who the dog is, right? All the Schnauzers bite. I don't know what he does to the dogs at home. This puppy started out perfectly great. So did the last one. Absolutely delightful. I can do most anything with the dogs until something happens and they hit their teenage years. And when they come out through the teenage years and become adults, they don't have the no bite button on them. They just are like, oh, you're pissing me off.
Sometimes there's someone at home that plays with them in a way that induces them to do that.
I am certain you're right.
And then it just gets worse and worse. I had a wire fox terrier that I was hand stripping, really beautiful dog, very well put together. And I loved working on her, but she was really difficult. And then I noticed when the owner would pick it up, he always roughhoused with her, and his hand in her mouth and her, and all of that. I said, please, you've got to stop playing with her that way. He said, oh, but that's how I play with terriers. So there may just be something, the terriers, like they take the stance and they like to kind of play tough. And if that keeps going, it can lead to no stop button.
You know what it's going to lead to? A really freaking short haircut, because I'm not going to try to brush out those front legs. That's what it's going to lead to. So I also have people who had a standard poodle and now they have a doodle. And the standard poodle had horrible ears, just horrendous ears. I was so excited because the doodle has spectacular ears. I mean, they're healthy ears. They never get infected. But doggone it, they're full of wax, just like the other dog's ears were. An abnormal amount of wax that is developing as this dog is becoming into his middle age. And I'm thinking it's exactly the same thing that happened with the standard, only his ears are healthier, so he is not getting repeated infections like the standard did. But there's still all this crap. And what are they doing? And then I kind of did the math on that one. I bet it's food.
Yeah.
I bet it's something that they feed their pets in their house, some way that they eat perhaps, or the choice of food that makes a lot of gunk.
Sexy stuff. Huh?
And then the third one is skin problems. I have dogs that the families have repeated skin problem dogs. When it happens one time, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry you're dealing with a skin dog. Then when it happens to the third dog, you're like, hey, what are you guys doing in your house? What's going on in here? And you think you've gone through that with the first and second dog, but now they're back in the allergists again. 2 different houses of mine that do something in their house that creates these icky, yeasty dogs. Or is it perhaps the genetics of the dog? They just pick dogs that have that genetics. It's just weird. Anyway, one thing, I've got a husband and wife. They always have 2 dogs. They're always Shih Tzus. It's the husband's dog that always has the skin problem. The wife's dog never has a skin problem. The husband's dog has a skin problem because he insists on feeding his own personal diet for the dog. Like he makes the food for the dog, and apparently he always had. I didn't find that out till this dog. And I went, hey, how come his skin is getting all greasy and stuff? I thought she had perfect skin. Oh, no. Clarence makes his own food for his dog. Her dog, perfect skin. The things you find out, the things the dogs tell you that the people don't know they're telling you. Nothing exciting in my week either, other than regular work day. Thanksgiving, I had a lot of cancellations, and now I'm busy as all get out. I guess it's just the way it works. Busy now, we'll see if people cancel later. I don't know. Do you miss that?
Well, it's going to be busy from now on, pretty much through the month, or through at least until Christmas.
Yeah, we've only got a couple weeks, and we're there.
Yeah.
Boom. That was a fast holiday season. It just seemed like a fast holiday season.
Oh, yeah. Everything's just flying by me because I'm just like in survival mode every single day.
Hey, but you're surviving. That's the important part. Let's take a break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Shavedowns. Let me tell you about Best Shot's newest addition to the Ultramax Pro line. Ultramax Hair Hold is a flexible hairspray that can be layered on for a stronger hold. Ultramax Hair Hold Spray is great, but my favorite new product is called the Max, and I won't groom without it. It's a fragrance-free ultra-concentrate conditioner and detangler. It reduces drying time and handles undercoat and tangles like magic. Just a few drops in the final rinse or spray it on and dry it in. Contact your favorite Best Shot distributor or learn more online at bestshotpet.com. Grooming success begins with Best Shot in your tub. Made from the best stuff on earth. Ready, groomers? Here comes our first appointment. Well, we're almost through the holidays, and the thing that I do often for holiday haircuts is I will leave the dogs a little bit long. I think you might have even taught me to do this. I kind of do a tidy up the month before Christmas when I see them. Leave them a little fluffier, concentrate a little bit more on the face and the little details and a little bit less on removing the hair. But sometimes that backfires for me. And when January and February's grooming comes along, I have to do some shaving of some mats because I've trained my people not to brush. I do appropriate haircuts so they don't have to maintain their dogs at home. That's kind of my niche. And then when they go in there and get a little bit longer for the holidays, then I have to do some creative haircutting. And in amongst that is the take it all off option. And I'm getting a little bit more comfortable using AI for creative suggestions. So I was sitting there yesterday working on the outline, and I thought, why don't I just ask AI for some creative names for when you have to shave a dog down? I didn't pick them all because some of them were a little odd, but I picked a few of them. So I know, didn't you used to call it somebody called it a nudie or a smoothie? Was that you, or was that Judy Brennan that I stole that from? I can't remember.
Oh, I've called it a smoothie for a long time.
Okay, must have been you.
Yeah, smoothie is like a 10 blade.
I try not to go there.
I can't go there.
Only if you have to. So a nudie is another one, a nudie. The bikini cut, that's kind of a happier term, bikini cut. AI suggested the beach bum. I thought that was good, a little beach bum. And then they had...
The military.
Oh, the military. Excellent. I like that. Bikini cut or beach bum, they said perfect for summer days. It was funny how AI presented it. I really had a good time with it. The bare necessities. Down to the bare necessities. I thought that was good. But I think my all-time favorite was, I guess it's time for a phoenix rising. A fresh start with a brand new look. I thought if I had a menu board, I'd probably put that up there. That's pretty clever, but it was fun, yeah. But any good shave down starts with a conversation with the owner. How did you approach that when you were working?
I usually express my regret. I empathize with the customers. Like, this might not be your favorite look, but in order to be kind to your dog today, I'm going to have to take him shorter than you and I like.
The owners will fight you on that sometimes, but you've got to be persuasive. This is where you put on your humorist hat.
I kind of hate smoothies and I kind of hate having to take dogs all the way down. And so I do things like a wet clip. Sometimes I can get through a matted coat with a 5 blade if it's shampooed and leave the conditioner in. So it kind of slides through the clipper blade and then do a 5 blade down. And then when it dries out, it is the length of about a 4. And that's not bad. I've done that with Bichons. Bichon people really hate to not have a fluffy dog because that fluffiness is in the breed standard. It's like really the essence of Bichon is fluffy. And Bichon people really hate to lose the fluffy. So I'll often do a wet clip, and then I explain to them that it won't be as perfectly even all over because when you do a wet clip, sometimes it goes in closer in some places than others. Now you have a choice. You can either leave it like that after you blow dry it, or you can go over with the next up blade, like go over it with a 4 blade and take it down. I usually explain that if we're going to try to get creative and do a wet clip, that it's not going to be as perfectly finished, but it'll grow out and I'll even it up next time.
I think that is really a good option, the wet clip. I was always nervous about doing wet clipping, and then I got some decent cordless clippers, and it really makes the whole experience a lot better. I don't feel like I'm going to electrocute myself. You do it with your cordless clippers. It gives you the ability to use a longer length when you're going through, even though it does give you the unevenness. And it's a much better next haircut that way because the dog still has some bulk left on it, and I love that option. Actually, I don't do it very often because I also don't do very many shave downs, but this afternoon I have some people who like the dogs to be fluffy and then fluffy and then fluffy and then cut it all off and then fluffy and then fluffy and then fluffy and then cut it all off, which as a groomer, I don't mind that so much because all I am doing in between is tidies, bath and tidies, and then I do the major haircut. Well, this is going to be a major haircut on both of them, the Havanese.
That's what I have to do with my two. Well, I think maybe I can still keep little with some puffs. We'll have to see. But Marco's legs, I like them flowing. And so I let him go and I let him go. And I had a little bit of trouble brushing him out. And I just said, next time. Next time. Yeah. He doesn't let me demat him. So I just brushed over the freaking mats. And now he looks kind of like he's got boots.
I like that look, though. I think that's kind of cool. And especially when somebody doesn't want to do a shave down, you come up with cute alternatives like that. And it's not so bad. And it is just one grooming cycle. And I get it. But I am hard pressed to do anything shorter than a 7. And I now have the wide blade 7, which actually I'm finding for the bigger dogs is kind of helpful. Although I don't want to buy another set of blades and combs because I don't want to have to carry him around. So I'm not sure how much it saves me versus how much I need the space in my drawers, but they have definitely helped. I'll do 4s and 5s. I don't like the 3 blade at all. Instead, my real go-to for anything I have to take down shorter is the Romani number 3 rocker comb. When we started grooming, they had only plastic combs and they were shaped, the Labe ones at least were shaped like a wedge, and was it the Oster ones that had the bottom that was curved on all of them? Anyway, it turned out the wedge was better, and then it turned out even more so that stainless is better than the plastic combs. But they have this little rocker comb that goes through mats with a clipper vac like butter, just like butter. I mean, it really works well, and it leaves some hair. Sometimes it leaves a little tracking because it's pretty short, but I still find it very useful for my shave downs or nudies or smoothies or bare necessities or whatever you want to call it. The most important thing, which I skipped over, was you need to communicate with the owners. Nobody wants a surprise. Actually, that can be disastrous.
Absolutely. You can lose a client that way.
Yeah.
And I will call them in the middle of a groom when I'm going shorter than what we talked about. And I will call them and say, I've reached an uh-oh moment here. And, like I try to spin it in a somewhat joyous manner. Well, I try to spin it.
It's easier to swallow.
It's so important that you keep the client on the same page as you. And if you've got to do something drastically different, and that's the problem when the husband drops it off and the wife gives the orders.
That's so much fun.
I'll call the wife.
Yeah, I would too.
Really want this dog shaved down to the bone? Oh no, oh no.
Yeah, that happens a little too often. So, in general, when you're doing a known shave down, like I'm not going into this thinking I'm going to save coat, it's like the people I'm going to see with Rastro and Rosie who want all the hair cut off this time. Do you shave it first or do you bathe it first? Because in this case, I'll shave it first, depending on how dirty they are.
I sometimes shave it. It depends on what it is. If it's a Cocker Spaniel, for sure, I'll shave it first because that hair is so thick and it takes so long to dry, you just can't brush it out. If it's a looser coat in general, I'll do it afterwards. If it's fairly short, I'll do it afterwards. But if it's really long and it's badly matted, it's just easier to take it down first, being very careful. But then what I don't do is the underbelly and the inside the back legs. I like to shave that only after, because when you shave that before the groom, that's when you're most likely to do a clipper burn there, especially if it's matted. I like to have nice, clean, conditioned hair all over when I'm doing a shave down. And if I got to get rid of bulk, sometimes I have with poodles or doodles, I've just like scissored a bunch off.
Yeah, I've done that.
It partially breaks up mats when you scissor on them in half. And just use a chunker and just chunk the shit out of it all over and take off a bunch of length that way. And then you can work with what's remaining a lot easier.
By cutting the ends of the mats off, sometimes you can release some of that hair that's trapped in there and then get a longer blade in or use a comb even. So that is a beneficial technique, definitely. What's your feeling about reverse shaving? I see people go in there and reverse shave all kinds of stuff.
I reverse shave some, especially over bony areas like the around the back hock of the dog. If I'm shaving down with the grain and it's not smooth, I'll just go in reverse or go up a comb or up a blade size and do that in reverse. I don't have objections to doing some reverse clipping. And sometimes when you're trying to do a smoothie, you can get it more smooth. You go in reverse.
And it feels really nice when you run your hand over a shaved down dog, even though it's not, as a groomer, our preferred way to go. It has a distinct textural feel, and I love it.
Oh, and some owners get so attached to that velvety feel of a smoothie that that's why they keep asking for that over and over again, because they actually like that feel.
I think the difference between a really good smoothie and a kind of crappy smoothie is the dreaded sticky outies. Those sticky outies that sneak out from under the pads of the feet and the back, or between the toes up front, or behind the ears. Just like you were saying, the things you would take off when you reversed over, sometimes those get by people. And I see dogs getting sent home with all kinds of really bad sticky outies occasionally. So try not to do that. Pull up the hair between the toes and scissor it all down so it really does look tight and tidy.
Although that's where I'll go I'll do that, but then do the 7-blade in reverse over the top of the foot and get a pretty nice foot that way.
That definitely works. One of the things I don't like about some people's Shavedowns that I see on the street, because it's not like I'm going into other people's shops and going, hey, that dog looks crazy, is the dog that looks like it's going to fall over because the head's so big and the rest of the body has no hair left on it. Balance is important.
Right, exactly. Balance is important. And that sometimes can happen with Bichons. If you're trying to do a nice round head, but you have to do a really short body, then there's a tendency for that head to look like a basketball on top of a fence post. You know what I mean? And
That's a definite image.
yeah, here's another time where I go in reverse is when I'm using combs around the head to do the heads. And Dave, my dear friend Dave,
Hi, Dave.
my former employee, hi Dave. Dave uses combs in reverse to do heads. I agonizingly scissor everything, but I started using the comb more often there towards the end of my career.
They are my crutch. I reverse comb every Shih Tzu head that I do, and I do a ton of them. I find that to be helpful because I'm not very good at evenly scissoring. I am much better at evenly clipping.
The clipper combs are just the game changer of the world. That was like the biggest thing that came along that changed my grooming were clipper combs.
Big time. I probably wouldn't be able to groom without them because I'm not the best scissorer.
I don't want to groom without them.
Yeah, me either. Me either. Ears and tail are two of the spots that I try to painstakingly demat because they mean so much to people. And what I try not to do is take ears and tail and whole body on the same groom. So I'll try to work with the ears and tail. I'll take the body off. Then the next time they come in, I'll tweak the ears and the tail so that I don't lose all of the personality.
Right. And I like to ask people, what is it about your dog's look that you find most appealing? What is it that you can't give up? Sometimes it is the ears. You know, some people don't want you to fool with the ears. I did a little Pekingese or pug mix one time that had kind of long, straight hair, and she had long, straight ears. And I cut them on the bottom perfect. I spent a half an hour scissoring the bottoms of those ears, and they were perfect. I never saw the people again.
Oh, I hate that.
I hate that.
Okay, so now you've brought their dog in. You had to do a smoothie mid shave, and now you're getting ready to present this dog to the owners. Decorate that dog up. Do a stencil on the butt. Put some bows in the hair. Do whatever you can to distract from the fact that you took all the hair off the dog, if they weren't expecting that, especially. So stencils, airbrush, bows, and bandanas are your friends in this case.
Ties. I don't like the bandanas so much. I like ties. The ties, you can get a bunch of them, 30 of them on Amazon for $15 or something, you know, like they're so cute and they're so contemporary.
Very much so.
Draws attention just like right to the front of the dog so that people aren't really looking at what's behind the shoulders, you know?
Oh, that's perfect. All right. Hey, let's take another break, hear from a couple more of our sponsors, and then we're going to get Barbara to talk a little bit about coconut oil and the potential for it being an allergen. So hang tight. We'll be right back.
Show Season has a great enzymatic cleaner called Kennel Fresh. And you dilute it with warm water and it smells good, and then it evaporates to be a deodorant. As the Kennel Fresh dries, it's enzymatic, it eats the bacteria and the odor source. So it's really good stuff. You can use it indoors or out. Find it at your local distributors or showseasongrooming.com.
The GroomPod and Precision Sharp would like to invite you to check out the newest precise cut shear called Lynx. Its patented design features a thumb ring that slides the length of the handle for perfect ergonomic placement of your thumb. Slide it, lock it into place, and get your best grooms on. Check it out at precisionsharp.com.
Groomers, take your seats. It's time for B-Bird's Classroom.
Well, hello there. Let's talk a little bit about coconut oil, because here's what's happening. I never go more than a couple of years before I re-investigate some major ingredients and what's going on with them, because things change. Science is an oak tree, it really grows slowly and strongly, but what's true one year might not be true a couple of years down the line, because things are discovered. And this is particularly true when ingredient raw materials become highly, highly popular. And as we said with fragrances, the more they're used, the more is the possibility of negative reactions occurring and getting logged and noticed. One of the things that really bothers me, Susy, about the grooming industry is that we don't have any place to report adverse reactions or adverse experiences with products, not just cosmetics, not just grooming products, but dryers and all of our grooming stuff. We have no place to complain to, no place that accumulates the complaints and can say, well, this seems to be a problem with that such and such, right?
Right.
This goes down the drain like the garbage disposal or something,
You could try to call the individual companies, but you probably would just get stonewalled.
They just stonewall you. They just say it must have been user error or something like that. They'll say, well, they must be a really allergic person, like blame the person, blame the group. Well, we don't need to go on a rant about that. I looked up coconut oil. I decided to go in and see, well, how are we doing with coconut oil? And what persuaded me is that on the shampoo in the grooming industry list, the Facebook page, there was a woman that just started out as a bather, and she had a horrible reaction her first day using a Davis manufacturing shampoo, which doesn't surprise me, but that's another story. But she was saying, her boss was saying that she seemed to be allergic to coconut oil. And I thought, well, what the heck? I thought coconut oil was fairly benign and not really likely to cause allergic reactions. So I looked up what the current knowledge is. I found an article that says this. I'm reading it. The use of coconut oil in cosmetics faces a notable restraint due to potential allergenic reactions in certain individuals and concerns about acne. Now, I knew that coconut oil was a comedogenic.
Makes blackheads.
Makes blackheads, yeah, clogs pores, makes blackheads. But I was operating on an understanding that it was really very, very rare that allergic reactions would happen to coconut oil. But apparently, contact allergic dermatitis to coconut products is a thing.
Uh-oh.
We have to put it in our minds as it is a thing. Now, what's the difference between using straight coconut oil and using coconut-derived products? I'm going to tell you, there's lots of coconut. things that you would never associate with coconuts. It doesn't have to say cocoa to come from the coconut. The good news is that coconut is not a nut, it's a fruit. So people that have nut allergy are not likely, not predisposed to have a coconut allergy, although there can be people that are allergic to both, because some people are allergic to everything. They're just hyper allergic, hypersensitive. While coconut oil is generally well tolerated, it contains components that may trigger allergic responses in some people. Allergic reactions can manifest as skin irritation, redness, or itching, limiting its suitability for those with sensitive skin. Now, did I tell you what the name of, I think I skipped over, I want to give you the name of coconut oil, its official botanical name, Cocos nucifera. Nucifera, Nucifera. Cocos nucifera is sometimes listed as an ingredient in a shampoo or a conditioner without saying that it's coconut oil. You really need to kind of know your botanical names of your key components. Cocos nucifera. But this woman, her arm was raw after shampooing several dogs with this shampoo. So clearly something happened. Now, the boss, the employer, interpreted that she had an allergic to coconut oil. But we don't know that coconut oil itself was an ingredient in that shampoo, although it's almost sure thing that you're going to get a coconut derived product such as cocamide DEA or cocamide sulfate. These ingredients have been developed from coconut oil can cause allergic contact dermatitis. They can be in cosmetics, hair shampoos, moisturizers, soaps, cleansers, and hand wash. Coconut oil, by the way, can be in lipstick and lip balm. So that's interesting.
That would be bad if you had a reaction to lipstick or lip balm and your
Yeah,
lips all got fat. Well, no, maybe you'd be okay. Maybe that's what those plumpers are. Who knows?
those lip bumpers. Have you ever tried those? I tried one.
No, I've never tried that.
As with any contact dermatitis, a rash may arise a day or two after contact with the allergen and take several days to resolve. So this makes me think that what the groomer in that particular instance experienced was a shampoo irritation. And that can come from cocamidopropyl betaine, where it has not been thoroughly cleansed after manufacture. So cocamidopropyl betaine is ubiquitous in cosmetics and grooming products. It's everywhere. It's a multifunctional product. It's inexpensive. It does many things, and it contributes to suds and suds formation, suds maintenance, suds feeling, everything suds. And it can also be used to thicken a product. It has many uses. Coconut oil, by the way, has some antimicrobial benefit. So that's important to know. I mean, really, generally, coconut oil is regarded as a good thing. These allergic reactions are very rare, still rare. But as more and more people use them, and more companies are using coconut-based products because they want to be green and natural. And that's one way to do it. So coconut is used from coconut palm, and it's usually in Southeast Asia, countries like Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand. And they all have a long-standing tradition of using coconut oil in beauty and skincare routines. In these regions, there are abundant coconut plantations, and coconut oil has been a traditional ingredient in their beauty practices for generations. So coconut oil is generally a good thing, but we need to know that it can be an allergen, and that the coconut derived products can also cause an allergic reaction, an allergic response. In 2006, cocamidopropyl betaine was designated the allergen of the year. That's done by the Society of Dermatologists. The dermatologists get together for their big, huge blowout at the end of the year, and they name the allergen of the year. They vote on it, right? And that year, cocamidopropyl betaine was tagged allergen of the year. Well, what happened then was that the manufacturers got on the ball and started doing a better job of removing manufacturing byproducts from the finished product. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
It was determined that it wasn't so much the coconut that was causing the problem. These were pretty much irritation reactions that sometimes appear like a contact allergic dermatitis. They were caused by the byproducts of the manufacturing process. So they got their shit together and were more careful to remove more of the byproducts from the manufacturing process. So then we saw less of a problem there for a while. Now it's being mentioned as a problem again. And I think it's because there's more and more use of coconut derived ingredients in our cosmetics, including dog grooming products. So that's my update on coconut oil and cocamidopropyl betaine. Really, I've always said that if you have a dog that seems to be allergic to every shampoo on earth, try finding one without cocamidopropyl betaine in it. And by the way, there's substitutes which are like babosa propylbutane. Well, if it says amidopropylbutane, it's manufactured in the same way with dangerous chemicals as the cocamidopropylbutane, right? So if it has the midopropyl part in it, yeah. But like maybe plain cocoa betaine would be a safer alternative. However, cocoa betaine is not going to be as good a surfactant as cocamidopropyl betaine. Cocamidopropyl betaine has been used as a main surfactant in baby washes because it's not likely to cause an allergic reaction.
So, one of the things that Dave Campanella always reminds everyone about when he's giving his shampoo talks is that when you're washing a dog, if you don't rinse your arm off, you're leaving shampoo residue on your skin, and that's more likely to cause a reaction if you have a sensitivity.
Right, because you're having a prolonged exposure.
Yeah, wash those arms off.
Yeah, wash your arms off. And yeah, groomers think that bathing cleans you all day long, but not necessarily. You go up and take money from a customer, especially cash money, take cash money from a customer, and there's a transference of bugs right there.
Yes.
Here, one year that like 2% of all $100 bills were contaminated with cocaine residue.
I resemble that remark. Take it easy, lady. Jeez. I contributed to that. Yeah, that dirty, dirty money. And on that happy note, as we head into the busiest season of the year, but also the best tips and the most fun and the Christmas lights and the Christmas trees, you guys enjoy the holidays. And I hope it goes well for you all. And remember to support our sponsors. Tell them that we appreciate their support here at the GroomPod. Happy grooming, everyone, and thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon and for every single donation we've ever received and for each one of your ears, both sides, for listening. Happy grooming. See you next time on the GroomPod. Bye-bye now.
Take care of yourselves because we love you.